Good afternoon, I'm Chris Cooney. It's my pleasure to welcome to the 15th month of COVID-19 recovery and resource calls with city, state, and federal officials. Today, we are also going to celebrate and recognize Sheila Sullivan-Jardim for her extraordinary support of women through her many years with both Massasoit Community College and MassHire Greater Brockton Workforce Board. Sheila will become the 23rd Athena recipient in the Metro South region later today. Before we begin our updates and then move to presenting the Athena Award, allow me to acknowledge our many affiliate and partner organizations who have helped promote these regular COVID updates for the last 15 months. And just briefly, the Avon Industrial Park Association, the Bridgewater Business Association, the Brockton Area NAACP, the Campello Business Association, Cape Verdean Association, the Easton Chamber of Commerce, the East Bridgewater Business Association, the Haitian United Association, the Massachusetts Small Business Development Center Network, the Norwell Chamber of Commerce, the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce, the Randolph Chamber of Commerce, South Shore Women's Business Network, and the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce. I also want to acknowledge Senator Mike Brady is on the call, as well as Representative Michelle Dubois and the Chief of Staff for Mayor Bob Sullivan, Kerry Richards. They are all with us, so we're happy to have them with us today. This Zoom call is being recorded as in the past and will be available after if you want to go back to something or there was something you missed. It'll be available at metrosouthchamber.com along with many additional resources for small businesses. Just incidentally, we are updating our website currently, and it will be live. The new website will be live by the end of July. So hopefully you'll check that out. We ask that you post all questions you have for our panelists in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and the panelists will answer. They're also available after the call ends and have been very, very helpful for small businesses who have in particular questions or issues related to their business. You can also post information down in the chat section, as we will along the way, and please pay attention to those because some really great, important resources there that you can make yourself aware of. I would like at this time to have a moment of silence in honor of Juneteenth, which is celebrated tomorrow, just accepted as a national and state holiday. This will be the first year. And then I also want to acknowledge past Athena Award recipients, Mary Ann Roble and Christine Karavides, who have both passed away, and those who we've lost to COVID-19 in Brockton and the surrounding region. So a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to turn to Sue Joss, who's filling in for the mayor of Brockton to provide an overview of where we are with the COVID response in the city. I know, Sue, people are feeling much better, but is there anything we really should be concerned of in the city or in the region?
Thanks, Chris, and big shoes to fill in for the mayor, so thanks for inviting me to do that. Things are looking much better in the city, and yet there is still some cause for concern. So I'm going to just share one slide real quickly. I don't have a whole deck today. Can you see that?
Yes.
So this is the city's latest dashboard. And what you can see in the middle is Brockton going from red to yellow to green really rather precipitously. And you'll see the positive test rate now is at less than 1%. So that's really amazing. I can still remember in January when, if you see the average confirmed cases per day, the 3.2 here, it was at 95 to 97 in January cases per day in Brockton. So really a huge and very steep decline. Over here in the bottom left corner of the screen, you'll see that 52.2% of Brockton residents have been vaccinated. And that's great progress. The word of caution I would put here is that that's not where we need to be to feel that we're out of this. So I think, the summer weather is going to be giving us some good protection with people outside. Half of the people vaccinated is a good start. And we probably, my guess is we'll probably see some pretty good times through the summer. But this new variant, the Delta variant, which was first identified in India, is a pretty big concern. That's probably going to become the predominant strain that we see in Massachusetts within a few months. That one has been devastating in India, for one, and some other countries. Many of our physicians at the health center are from India, and they're telling stories of family members who died in waiting rooms, and even a couple died on the streets outside the hospital because they couldn't get in. It's just been devastating, so much more serious than the already serious strains of COVID that were out there, easier to contract. And what we're hearing about the vaccinations is that the vaccinations are effective against this variant, but it's really even more important to get vaccinated and to get that second dose. The second, with only one dose of the Moderna and Pfizer against this new strain, the Delta, is only 30% effective. With two doses, so people who are fully vaccinated, it's up in the 90s. So that second dose really becomes really critical. You know, and the worry is our kids aren't vaccinated, those who are under 12, it's not approved for them yet. And there's still, you know, almost half of the residents of Brockton still not vaccinated. So I would say if I were an unvaccinated person, I would be more worried than ever, because everybody seems to have, you know, my worry, and my worry hat still on, is that it still feels, it feels like people have turned the corner and they feel like this is over. And it is much, much better, but it's not over. And so I think, you know, this is the time for people who haven't been vaccinated to hopefully make that decision, because we really need to need to get a lot higher than 50% before we feel we've turned the corner permanently on this. And you know, I still worry about a surge coming in the fall if vaccination numbers don't go up. So so good news and in caution at the same time, I would say.
Thank you, Sue. Great, important reminder for folks who only got their first shot to get their second shot, and certainly get your vaccine. You know, folks are concerned about that second shot. We've encouraged people, as we've seen reported, to have water, drink a lot of water the day before, drink a lot of water the day you have it. And it tends to, from what I've seen, alleviate a lot of the grogginess or the headache or that type of thing that goes on. So people shouldn't fear getting that second dose.
You know, and there are people who have, you know, kind of a rough day the day after the second shot and really don't feel well. And we had a number of our own staff call out after that. But still, if you look at the risk benefit and look at what it means to have COVID and the risk to your life and the life of family members, especially those who can't get vaccinated yet, I think it's hopefully an easy decision.
Great. Thank you so much, Sue. We're going to hear from you shortly as you're going to MC the awards portion. So I'd like to turn now to Margaret and Susan. I'm not sure which order you want to go, but they are our representatives from the Mass Office of Business Development. And of course, there's been a lot of questions about resources from the state, both in terms of economic development and employment. So Sue.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much. And thanks to the Chamber for your, you know, your continued effort and support for your membership. And, you know, we'd like to start off today with congratulations to today's Athena Award winner, Sheila Sullivan-Jardim. Sheila is the type of leader who's continuously thinking outside the box, always seeking new and fresh ideas. And then she actually goes about and implements them. She's been a leader not only in the regional workforce development system, but across the state, and has provided so many with her wealth of knowledge and her years of experience. She's also the kind of leader who's willing to roll up her sleeves and really get engaged. I've known Sheila for many years and have always admired her ability to take risks and just her willingness to just be such a strong advocate for her constituents, both the businesses and the job seekers. This award is certainly well-deserved. So congratulations, Sheila. Next, I just want to share a quick update this week that Governor Baker signed into law an act that's extending certain COVID-19 measures that were adopted during the state of emergency. So the act includes an extension until April 1st of 2022. The remote meeting provisions that began on March 12th of 2020 during that executive order of the state of emergency. So the certain provisions of the open meeting law have now been extended. The to-go cocktails has been extended through May 1st of 2022. And part of that includes that drinks must be sold at the same price for off-premises consumption as for on-premises consumption. And then in addition, they've expanded the outdoor dining, and that would have otherwise expired in August. And now that's also been extended until April 1st of 2022. Unfortunately, no action was taken on another measure that many restaurants were seeking. That's the extending the cap on the meal delivery fees. So the House had supported that extension and the Senate did not. So that's one that was not extended. So we also have a quick presentation on some additional funding opportunities, and Margaret is going to share those with you now.
Thanks. So next slide, please. So you've heard Sue and I come on often talking about funding programs throughout COVID that the Baker-Polito administration administered through our resource partner, Mass Growth Capital Corporation. So there's 3 new programs coming out that I'm going to give a high-level talk about. I know we have a special event today, but maybe we can get into details if anyone is interested offline or in a future one of these calls. So $4 million has been allotted for 45 nonprofit technical assistance providers to continue their work with small businesses. And so this is going to be very important. When Sue and I, we talk about technical assistance providers, TA providers, frequently. And that's not like technical help, that's business counseling, that's business support. These are the go-to nonprofit organizations who are going to get you the help that you need, whether it was help writing some of your grant applications. So they're our real go-to, and they're going to be critical in these other programs we're announcing. So the Community Development Financial Institutions, or CDFIs, is a matching grant program, $14.7 million in funding, and $11.3 million for the Biz Empower program. These are 2 great programs with Mass Growth Capital, the Empower digital development capabilities, and then the Biz Empower. So next slide. This is the first of the grant programs. So it is requiring a business, now these are both for very small businesses, less than 20 or less employees. And it's requiring you to connect with one of these TA providers, and we'll get, there's a link here, hyperlinked in green, and we'll provide these, Lexi has these slides for you to find the TA provider. So this is an opportunity for you to get crowdfunding as well as grant funding up to anywhere from $2,500 to $20,000. So let's talk, next slide. You're familiar with Patronicity if you're in Brockton, because they helped fund Prava, which we know was such an exciting program. So this is a similar concept. Businesses can receive between $2,500 and $20,000. They're required to do a one-to-one match with Patronicity. And what can you use these funds for? You're going to acquire, expand, improve, or lease a facility and other capital needs such as equipment. So the grant just opened June 15th. The deadline is August 2nd. So we can work with you if you are interested in this going forward. But first step is getting connected with a TA provider to help you with the process. Next slide. This is our second grant program, and this is the Digital Capabilities Grant Program. Again, you're going to need to be working with a TA provider. Next slide. There's a lot of eligibility requirements we can review, just being efficient with our time today. So this is a grant match up to $5,000. This is not a one-to-one match. This grant is going to cover 80% of the cost. You're required to do 20% of the cost. There is a fee for the TA provider. However, that's going to come out of the grant award, not out of your pocket. what can these funds be for? This is for qualified professional services, a consultant, digital development plan. So maybe you need to make improvements on your website. Maybe you're trying to do e-commerce that you haven't done before. If you need some software. So it's basically digital capabilities for your business that you self-identify what your needs are. So we're happy to work offline with you on either of these programs. Next slide. And of course, here's the contact information for myself and Sue. Really, that technical assistance provider is a new layer to this grant program. We found with some of the others, it really would have been helpful to have someone there kind of holding your hand, helping you leverage these resources. And so that's why we've made that connection here. So we'll talk more in detail with that and welcome you to contact us offline. And again, our sincerest congratulations to Sheila. I'm looking forward to working with her. I have a company, Brockton-based company, lined up next week. And, you know, really how we're able to work through as a team to help companies. We do, which call us, because there's a lot we can do, especially when we partner up. And we know a lot of companies are looking to reinvigorate and hire back their workforce and need a little help right now. So we're all here for you as part of Team Massachusetts. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you, Susan. Terrific information, and thanks for your partnership all these months. And going forward, we're very fortunate to have both of you focused on Brockton as much as you are, and we appreciate that. And I did want to mention that WorkShare is something that's been highlighted by the Labor Secretary as an option. A lot of folks, especially as we lead into summer, with the pandemic not completely out of the way, yet employers wanting to rehire, they can, rather than lay people off, they could reduce their hours over the summer and have the employee made whole by a portion of the funds from WorkShare, from unemployment, paying the hours that the employer can't. So if you had, say you have 3 employees and you've got them at 40 hours a week and you've already lost revenues from January till now, and rather than lay them off, you can cut their hours to 20 hours, pay them the 20 hours, and then the other 20 hours would be covered by WorkShare, by unemployment, which is a good deal for unemployment too, because they're not having to pay out the whole amount if you laid somebody off. Plus it keeps that talent connected to your employer and to your business. So it really is an innovative way. And I know the Secretary has really been trying to highlight it. It's harder to understand than black and white of unemployed or employed, but it really does work for a lot of small businesses to keep the talent and keep things moving forward until revenue can return, especially over the summer. And the bonus here is that the employees who are on WorkShare are made whole, but they'll also qualify for the extra $300 through Labor Day. So that it can really be a win-win for a lot of small companies. So if you want to know more about that, please reach out to Susan or Margaret. Thank you. So we're going to move on. We usually have Eli. In fact, I think this is probably the first week he's been unable to be with us. We did change the time, so it's kind of on us. Same thing with the mayor. But we are happy to have Steve McAllister with us from the United States Chamber of Commerce. As you may have heard me say, the U.S. Chamber has been extraordinary in really trying to find a pathway forward in this divided Congress to really work with those who are willing to work with each other on both sides of the aisle, and really not paying as much attention anymore to the ones on either end of the spectrum to really try to find a pathway forward. And so I have to give credit to the new president of the U.S. Chamber, but also Steve McAllister, who's been our stalwart supporter and an ally and connection to the U.S. Chamber all these years. So Steve, welcome. I know you and I talked beforehand about some of the resources that are available for small businesses, also some of what's going on. So we've got about 3 to 5 minutes to kind of cover some of that. So thank you for being with us.
Sure, and great to see you, and great to join you again. As Chris mentioned, there is a number of different things that are out there that are trying to help the business community, but it's all over the place. So what the Chamber has done is we've combined it and put it all in one document. And I think Alexi just put that in the chat here. So we want to touch about that because there are so many different ways that you can look for help here, and it's all targeted to supporting your business. So the first thing is grants. You want to look at grants first. That's the thing we always promote first. Why take on additional debt if you don't have to? If there is an option to get a grant, go for the grant first. So you want to begin all your, when you're looking for federal money, always start at grants.gov, grants.gov. It's a government site. It's a database. It has all of the different grants that are available. Now, there are so many different grants that have come out of the last stimulus package that you can really tailor what you're looking for. If there's a community navigate pilot program, which offers between $1 million and $5 million to nonprofits who provide outreach, education, and training to small businesses. There's the COVID-19 Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which I know we've spoken about in the past. We have a great one-page sheet on that. And
that's still open. People think it's closed, but that's still open.
Correct. That one is still open, which is good. And you can receive up to $10,000 on that. And again, this is a grant. So if you're eligible, please look at that. There is the National Institute of Health grants that are available, the shuttered revenue operators grant. It's a little confusing on that one, but it is starting to come out there. So, give yourself some time if you're going to participate in that, but it is starting to show a little life. So these are just some of the grants that are available. There's grants that'll help you with your research and development. There's grants for enterprise things, technology, workforce development. There is a lot of money that is available, and they're trying to get these funds out. That's the other thing. And talk with your state and local officials as well. The money is coming through from the federal government. It's going to the states. It's going to the local level. They need to get this money out. So it is there. You just need to know where to reach and know who to speak to, which is why, your chamber here, the Metro South Chamber, is so important, because they can connect you with the right people. There's also a big time opportunity now for you to bid on government contract assistance. So there are so many, the federal government does a lot of business, as you can imagine. So they've really opened up the bidding process for this. And these are big time contracts that go to a lot of small businesses. A lot of businesses in Massachusetts take advantage of this. So, if this is something you're interested in, you should really look at this. They kind of break it down to give you a really good shot at bidding for this. They have programs for service disabled veterans owned businesses program. You can bid just on that. They put out a portion of that where you can bid on if you qualify for that. Women owned businesses, small businesses specifically, you can bid on particular things if you're a woman owned business. If you're in certain zip codes, they call them the hub zones, different programs that you're available. If your business is in a certain zip code, you can apply and you get a step up. You get an advantage for bidding for these government contracts. And again, these are big contracts, and the government's going to pay you too. You won't have to chase them down because the government will, guarantees these. So you will get your money, which it saves you half a day chasing down vendors, as I'm sure you all are aware of that. There's also other assistance programs, general business grant programs, even little things like the GoFundMe Small Business Relief Fund. You start a GoFundMe page, they'll match $500 in grants right there. Again, it's on the lower level, but hey, $500 is $500, and it gets you start. There's small business builders funds. There's kind of state specific funds in there that you want to work with the governor's office and your economic people that come in. There's industry specific small business grants. If you do, again, with women entrepreneurs that are eligible, if you're in, different sectors, there's things available. So these are just some of that we're touching on. Chris, I see you got your hand up.
Oh, do I? Oh, that's sorry. That was,
yeah, so these are just some of that. There is a lot. And so if you go on to the chat here, you'll see how the U.S. Chamber, we put them all in one page, and you go through and just pick and choose and see which ones that you're available that you think that you would qualify for. Please start with the grants. Always go for grants first. Don't take on additional debt if you don't need to. But really look at some of these programs. The U.S. Chamber, we also have ways that we're trying to help as well. We have the Big Dream Awards, which we offer up to $25,000 in cash prizes to the business of the year. Application deadline is July 16th. So get those in. Talk to Chris. He can get them into us. We have the Citizens Awards, which is through our foundation, which is categories for small business. The deadline is later this month. More information can be found on that site too. So these are just some of the things. We're trying to bring all the resources together in one place because there's so much money out there, because there's so many different agencies that are dealing with this, and that, I have this pie, you have that pie. We need to get that information to you in a concise way so you can do the work and you're not spending most of your time just finding what's out there. You want to spend most of your time applying and getting these benefits. So please look for that. It's a great resource.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks so much for being with us and giving us an update. So often folks are talking about the fact that this program is done, PPP, or that program is suspended or whatnot, but there's still another 30 programs that are available. There's a lot of money, as you say, that Congress approved, and that we want small businesses that are struggling or could be saved to access these funds. So we also understand that if you fill out one of the applications, you can actually cut and paste a lot of that stuff to the others. And so it makes it a lot easier to do the work up front, or to work with your bookkeeper or your accountant to kind of move the applications forward. There is a lot of money out there right now through Congress, so we're encouraging businesses. And there's also been a lot of business failure. Quite frankly, there's not enough businesses really to cover the demand going forward. So we need more people to take a chance and open a business. And so we'll probably have that as a topic going forward, and we'll like to have you back in the future as well to talk about that. So thank you, Steve. It's now my pleasure to move to the Athena Awards portion of the program. Despite the advancement of women in virtually all industries, there remains a relative few who advance to the highest levels of leadership, and that's across all sectors. Today, we are reminded just how important those who enable, encourage, and empower women in the workplace are, not only to those individuals, but also to our economy and our democracy. We are fortunate to have many strong women in leadership roles within this region. I would now like to introduce one of those women, today's MC, Sue Joss. Sue is a board member and former board chair of the Metro South Chamber of Commerce, and is also Chief Executive Officer of the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. Sue has led the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center for more than 25 years, where she has grown the facility and their diverse staff to more than 600 employees right in downtown Brockton. Sue has also provided extraordinary leadership to the community throughout the pandemic to benefit the entire region of the state. Sue is also a past Athena Award recipient, and along with her, we have other past recipients on the call and in spirit. They are Elaine Reiser, Janet Trask, Mary Waldron, Diane Bell, Sharon Walder, and Nancy Gustafson, all past recipients of the Athena Award. At this time, please join me in welcoming Sue Joss to chair the awards portion of our program. Sue?
Thank you, Chris, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be with you today, and wish we could be meeting in person to celebrate, but the virtual event will still be exciting as we move forward to celebrate this very positive award and such a deserving recipient in Sheila Sullivan-Jardim. We'll be presenting in a minute an exceptional leader with this important Athena Award, and hearing from another accomplished woman who is the author of Indestructible, Reclaim, Control, and Respond with Confidence in a Media Crisis, and the host of the podcast, Confident Communications with Molly Mcpherson. A main highlight of today's program is the Athena Award presentation. Since Athena program's inception in 1982, more than 6,700 individuals from over 500 communities around the world have been selected to receive the prestigious Athena Award. Athena nominations are sought at the community level, and the award is presented to an individual, most often a woman, who has achieved the highest level of professional excellence, given back to the community, and most importantly, assisted other women along their respective leadership paths. Indeed, this focus on mentorship of other women is what sets the Athena Award apart from other leadership awards of its kind. I'd like to reiterate that the Athena program is not solely targeted to one gender and that both men and women are eligible to receive this award. It is through a representation of balanced leadership that communities will prosper, and that of course involves everyone. Today's honoree will be added to a long list of distinguished recipients, and she is truly deserving. Sheila Sullivan-Jardim is the Executive Director of the MassHire Greater Brockton Workforce, a 24-member business-driven organization that brokers education and training programs throughout a 10-town region. Providing leadership for sector initiatives driven by labor market information, she approaches each day as an opportunity to grow and think beyond the traditional scope. Leadership is a role that Sheila already accepts in her personal and professional life, operating through consensus by examining all points. She has successfully led teams for grant programs, community partnerships, and volunteers, resulting in positive solutions. Leading a staff of 15 professionals, many of whom are women, she has built a team that is responsive to customers, the community, and each other. In her current position, which benefits so many professional and young women, she has increased the financial assets of her agency by more than $3.2 million during her tenure through donations, grants, and annual appeals. Managing over 32 different funding streams from federal, state, and private sources to comprise an average annual budget of $5 million, Sheila has developed sustainable partnerships with funders and community collaborations for both proposal and program implementation. Acquiring property that has become the Center for Workforce Development, she implemented a regional training center for employers and job seekers that serves thousands of people annually. Prior to her position at MassHire Greater Brockton Workforce Board, Sheila spent over 20 years in higher education administration and as an entrepreneur, starting her own business in grant writing called Grant Connections. She earned her bachelor's degree from UMass Amherst, obtained her master's certificate for women in government, and a master's degree in public administration from the McCormick Institute in UMass Boston. Sheila is active in her local community of Carver, has been married to her husband, Bruce, for 35 years, and they have 3 adult children and 1 beautiful granddaughter. It is now my distinct honor to recognize the Metro South Chamber of Commerce 2001 Athena Award recipient, Sheila Sullivan-Jardim, who has accomplished so much towards the advancement of women, especially in her roles through Massasoit Community College Youth Work Summer of Work and Learning and MassHire Greater Brockton Workforce Board. Congratulations, Sheila. Can you please hold up your award for all of us to see, and would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. So this is quite the award. Let me make sure that everyone can see it. It's beautiful. Thank you, Sue and Chris, Metro South Chamber of Commerce Board staff. I'd also like to thank you for the award and the recognition today. My mother would have told you probably that I was a leader from a young age. Always the first to get in trouble, always the first to jump over that proverbial bridge, first at the principal's office. Often I would hear her say, I don't know where you came from and I don't know where you're getting these ideas. Little did she know how much of an influence she had on me. My mother grew up in Ireland and came to the US at a young age without knowing anyone, starting a new life. The courage that she showed at that young age is something that really influenced me through my life. She raised 3 children, an incredible advocate for my sister who was disabled, always leading the charge to the next medical solution. But I also have many strong leaders in my family. My grandmother had 8 children, 36 grandchildren, and countless great-grandchildren. She led her family through several wars, depression, and challenges that up until this year, I could never have fathomed. My sister provided unbelievable leadership, support, and encouragement when my father passed away, really becoming a pillar of our family and leading us to that next stage. My daughter, she amazes me every day with how she leads, with confidence, with grace. Hoping that this will also continue with my granddaughter. But Sue, it's not really just my family that has influenced me. It's many members of the community. It's the woman that who has reinvented herself and become a published author. My high school friend who was just elected to public office for the first time. My colleague who retired and is now leading an entirely new life as a new business owner. These are what I think about is not only the women that have influenced me, but these are the women that lead us every day. They lead us behind the scenes. Some of them are public figures, but many of them don't get that recognition. They lead quietly, they lead confidently, and they do lead with grace. So I hope that I do have the opportunity to lead others, to learn from those that are continuing to influence me. I'd like to accept today's award on behalf of those women that don't receive the daily recognition, but that do lead us in our community, in our home, in our lives, and are shaping and nurturing our world. So again, Sue, thank you so much. And Chris, to you in the chamber, again, I appreciate your recognition, and I'll be sure to find a nice good spot for the award. Again, thank you.
Well, congratulations again, Sheila. So well deserved, and inspirational comments to go with it. So thank you for all you've done for women and for our community all these years. And we're just really proud to have you with us. We're also fortunate to have sponsors like Eastern Bank, who made programs like the Athena Award celebration possible. Eastern Bank has helped generations of individuals, families, businesses reach their goals for nearly 2 centuries. They've accomplished it with honest values and service that always put their customers first. It's how they've grown to be the largest independent, mutually owned bank and earned their reputation as a bank that cares about its customers, its communities, and its employees. To them, doing good things to help people prosper means providing access to credit and financial services, building strong and diverse communities by providing useful banking products, and working together to best meet the needs of their customers. Join Us for Good is Eastern Bank's brand, and one that accurately describes all of the good they do within the community. We're happy to have with us today our longstanding Athena Awards sponsor, Charles Smith, Senior Vice President with Eastern Bank, to introduce our keynote speaker. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Sue. No applause needed for me. Hope everyone can hear and see me. I want to say congrats to Sheila for winning this award. I know from my wife working in the field that the work that you're doing, she used to work with young adults out of Boston who were looking for, job placements, things like that, and some training. And I know that that's a hard thing to do. So I applaud you for the work that you do. And, if fintech takes over the banking industry, I may be asking you for some redeployment of my skills and resources here in the near future. So I want to say that. But along those lines, I'm not really sure if I'm qualified to be introducing Molly Mcpherson. I think somebody from our public relations department should be doing that. As an Eastern banker, one of the key ways that we introduced the program that Sue so eloquently said about our Join Us for Good campaign was through social media. A lot of posts, a lot of things, whether it was Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever the case may be. Understanding how to navigate that, I call it a minefield because I'm not any good at it, but we call it a way to promote our business, is very important for our brand and to promote our social agenda. Join Us for Good doesn't just mean good banking. It really means the development and the betterment of our community, our colleagues, and as a newly formed public institution, our shareholders now. The path for us, fast for us here, I'm sure we've hit some potholes. I'm sure not everybody likes what we have to say in all instances. And a person like Molly would help us greatly in navigating these waters. Without any further ado, I do introduce Molly Mcpherson. I look forward to her speech. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, Charles, thank you so much. That is an introduction. And the reason why I love it so much is because you appreciate how important strong communications can be for an organization. And following Sheila, oh my goodness, I can't even compare. And it's interesting, when I was asked to present the Athena Awards, Sheila, it reminded me of a memory back in the day when I was in high school. I was in high school in the 80s. I'm originally from Minnesota, but I have relatives that came over and landed in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So I feel like a Southern Mass person. But in the 80s, I was up for the Athena Award at my high school, where it went to the top athlete. And I felt that I was going to win this award. And I did not win the Athena Award. I came in second, but I found my letter jacket this morning and I took a photo, because you and I, even though I can't aspire to you, and even hearing, Sheila, your talk, I never could. It was such a beautiful talk. And you're touching on such an important part of communications today, which is the value system, about being strong. You mentioned in this award about the strength that you have and the wisdom. That's what this Athena Award is all about. And it's not just celebrating women, of course, men can have this award as well. But I love the theme of a value system, because that is what I broker. Okay. I broker confidence in a day and age, as Charles mentioned, that it's difficult to navigate it. It's difficult to navigate your brand. It's difficult if you're worried about people saying the wrong thing. So I have a podcast. I also work in public relations. What brought me out to Massachusetts originally is I went to Boston University in the 90s. I was in the first class to have an email. I was the first class to do that at the School of Comm. But I'm passionate about what I do, because it's not just about communications, it's about showing the values and giving people confidence. Where I formed a lot of my work today in 2021 came from my work with FEMA. I was in Washington, D.C., working in public affairs. My work there was coming out of the years of Hurricane Katrina, when an agency working for FEMA, an agency that distributes money, gets people back on their feet, was the most reviled agency in Washington, D.C. We were literally a joke coming out of Hurricane Katrina. There was a Saturday Night Live sketch, about us. It was the idea of the public reputation and perception of the agency. We were perceived to be the agency that bungled the response. Even though there was a lot of blame to go around, all eyes were on FEMA based on the leadership and how they responded to the media at the time. My job trying to reshape the reputation of FEMA is what has formed me and shaped my work today. Because in my work in public affairs, I worked with our stakeholders, people who lost their homes due to wildfires, due to storms, due to hurricanes, whatever it is. And they would tell me every day, thank goodness for FEMA. Thank you for helping us. They loved us, but the press didn't. And I knew that there was a way to go around that. And I'm speaking to you today also as a small business owner. So listening to all of the talk ahead of time leading into the award is the importance of the strengths of having our small businesses out there. I'm a small business owner as well. We were helping small business owners coming out of FEMA. And I wanted to tell that story. So back in 2007, I asked my bosses, can I go out in the field? Can I just grab a backpack with a video camera? I was a backpack journalist before it even existed, and talk to the people directly to find out what they appreciate about the work that we do. I brought that back to FEMA and repackaged it. And it was before social media really took hold. But with this video, turned it into vignettes where we could be our own spokesperson. Ever since then, what I do is I work with a lot of small to medium-sized businesses as well, in addition to other corporations and larger businesses. But I want to help people feel confident navigating the age that we're in. I need help with social. When I have to do social media, I'm asking my teenagers all the time. I'm not a whiz in social media, but I understand the power of it and how it can do good, as they would say at Eastern Bank. I help people create the right response at the right time and deliver it in the right place. I think I have a niche, and my niche is you need to have a response, and it needs to be the right response. You need to know how to respond, and you need to know where to place it. So for anyone right now, like working with in the public sector, the private sector, small to medium-sized businesses. I want to share with you the value of the reputation, because if you lose your reputation, there is a cost that comes along with it. It's money. It takes time and money away from your business. So how do you protect your reputation? Every single day there's a branding crisis. It's so different in the, back in the 90s or the early 2000s, when I was working at the agency, when we just had primarily the top news networks. That's how people get their information, or for newspaper. Social media wasn't that two-way conversation wasn't really there. So when you thought about a crisis, it was like a Hurricane Katrina or a 9/11. That was always the idea of a big crisis. But every single day, there's a branding crisis. Even this morning, as we were hearing about the vaccine rollout in Brockton and how the numbers need to go out. The New York Times had a story about Johnson & Johnson, how because of a story that went out about a few people who had a reaction to Johnson & Johnson, they never recovered the reputation. And now Johnson & Johnson vaccine is lagging behind. So, there's a true cost to that. So we're in this era now of the cancel culture. Everybody is worried about this cancel culture, and it may seem like a joke or just like a one-liner that you might hear politicians say or big business say. But this idea of people canceling other people can happen in a pop culture, political point of view, but can also happen quite locally as well. It can happen on town boards. It can happen, in a school meeting. So the idea of the cancel culture is where I like to spend a lot of time. If we look at it from the pop culture point of view, who's been canceled? Talk show host Ellen DeGeneres, of course, James Charles, Chrissy Teigen. I had to put a New York Yankee pitcher in there, even though the Red Sox are in second place right now in the standings. He's coming out and saying, you know what? It's okay if we cheat. Give the pitchers a break. Okay. All of these people have been touched by the cancel culture. The one person who just fascinates me right now, and what I do is, you take a pop culture's person, take someone like Chrissy Teigen. I'm using her as an example because I think she's been so immersed in social media that so many different areas are talking about her, different news outlets. So I want to use her as a brief example. Many of you know, or you've heard, Chrissy Teigen married to John Legend. He is a legend in music. He's an artist. And Chrissy Teigen had this kind of reign as someone who understands social media and social media influencing. She curated a brand, a cookware. She's curated clothing. She's done all these things. She was at the top of the hierarchy of communicating on social media. All it took were a couple tweets and posts that got out where she started bullying really a lot of C and D list people. And now her reputation is trashed, okay? Because it took Courtney Stodden. Well, consider, the press would call her, a D list. She's known for marrying, an actor who's a couple decades older than her. But the fact that Chrissy Teigen bullied her, the public said, no, we love you, Chrissy, but no, we're going to put our foot down on this because we don't value bullying anymore. So the problem now is what causes a person to be canceled and what doesn't, and how do we navigate? Another problem that comes out of it, and I notice this, is a lot of businesses, executives, people who I work with, they're afraid to use communications. They're afraid to use social media. They're afraid to put themselves out there. And there's a big miss when this happens, because it is true. A reputation can go down the sewer quickly on social media. But if you don't use it, you're losing this opportunity to elevate your brand and to show people the good work that you're doing. So how do we manage this? On the one hand, it feels like a hand grenade that can blow up at any time. But imagine how it would feel if you could communicate with confidence every single time you post something. When I speak to my clients, small, medium-sized business owners, particularly, the people who are in charge of the social media. Nowadays, a lot of digital savvy people, probably going to Boston University decades after I did. They know video, they know graphic, they know design. But this idea of crisis response and public relations isn't as valued nowadays, with younger, because everybody is all tech. But the stress comes with how do you respond? And that's what I like to share with people. It's the name of my book. I want people to feel indestructible because I want them to communicate. I want businesses, I want CEOs, I want managers, I want to show people you know, how you can navigate social media, how you can navigate the press by this idea of being indestructible. So I have 7 pillars that show indestructibility that I mention in my book that can be used for anyone. The first one is honesty. When you've lost honesty, when you've been accused of lying, it's very difficult to bring that back, okay? This is an example of Blade, which is the Uber for helicopters. It turns out they had a spokesperson. They were so afraid of the press, they created a spokesperson. It was like a PR bot who was doing the press and handling the press. Well, once that story leaked, now they have a massive reputation problem. Step 2, humility. Listening to Sheila's talk about who inspired her. Sheila is willing to take an award. Some people aren't because they don't want to seem like they're bragging. But when Sheila accepts an award, as you heard, she accepted it for her mother, for her grandmother, for her siblings. She accepted it for a sibling with a disability, which I am certain formed the way that Sheila is serving today. This type of humility not only helps the Sheilas of the world, it helps the future Sheilas of the world and other organizations that are connected to Sheila and MassHire and Greater Brockton, the Workforce Board. The next one is this idea of being genuine. Someone like a Dr. Fauci. Dislike him, like him, whatever it is, you cannot deny that he's very genuine. He's very good at cutting through any type of BS to get straight to the point. Being genuine in who you are shapes your brand. And if you hit a bumpy road like he has recently, he's still using his authentic self to work and navigate himself around it. The next step is this idea of transparency. I work with a lot of organizations who don't feel comfortable doing this. They don't like putting themselves out there because they don't want to be taken out of context. I understand this. It's almost counterintuitive, but the more you share and the more information that you put out there, it actually emboldens you. It makes you stronger. Here's a quick example. I'm going to give you like 8 seconds of a clip of Ellen DeGeneres. Listen for what is happening in this clip.
It's good to see you. Happy belated birthday. When was your birthday?
It was October 4th.
October 4th. You turned 30.
I did.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited.
Okay, so that clip showing Ellen DeGeneres, she was caught in a lie. And this was part of the downfall that she has been dealing with because she, in turn, when she had her problems, her reputation problems, she did not want to speak up. She did not want to be responsive. And then clips like that came out to show her that she wasn't genuine. Another pillar is this idea of responsiveness. How quickly do we speak up when something is amiss? Many of you know about the problems that Peloton had, for instance. Peloton, they had a new Tread Plus that came out. The CEO, originally they did not put the information out there, but then they needed to do it quickly and he apologized for that. You need to be responsive in the day and age that we're in. The next piece is just being relevant. How are you someone that's being relevant for the times? Chris, when he opened up the meeting today, we took a moment of silence in honor of Juneteenth. Eastern Bank on their Facebook page right now, they have a video about Juneteenth. When corporate decides to stand by a value system, especially a relevant one, that is strong, indestructible public relations for any person or any brand. And the next pillar, and this is the biggest, it's accountability. People who can be accountable for when things are good, but also when they're not so good. That is the reason why the cancel culture exists, is because people need to be accountable for what they're doing. Chrissy Teigen is still in the rehabilitation mode. They're taking videos of her husband saying, Chrissy's doing great. I doubt that. Chrissy, I think, is stressing out. But what we need to do to be accountable is you have to own it. This is the framework that I share with everyone. You have to own whatever happened, admit your role in whatever it is. Then you go to step 2, you clarify why something happened. You explain it and put it into context. The next step is you always want to promise, what are we doing to move forward? That is how you navigate the cancel culture with confidence. And I have to give it to Chrissy Teigen. my prediction is she will eventually come back. She may not come back to the same level, but taking a step like right now, she went to Medium, she wrote a post and she said, I made a mistake. She followed those steps. I goofed. I did the wrong thing. I was a troll, full stop, and I'm sorry. It may take her a while for the gravity of what she did, but I do think eventually people are going to give her a break because she did take the steps to be able to do that. If anyone has any questions at any time, you can always reach out to me. I love social media. I love using Twitter. And that's a great place where we have a lot of the back and forth. So certainly, if you ever want to reach out, I was really pleased about being asked to speak with you all today. I'm a champion of small business. I'm a champion of female entrepreneurs, all entrepreneurs. So thank you so much. And Sheila, congratulations, a well-earned award. All right. Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you for sharing the book. I appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you so much, Molly. That was just amazing and inspiring for us all on an inspiring day. So perfect talk for our Athena Awards special event. So thank you for being with us.
You're welcome, Sue.
So some announcements as we close from the chamber. Look for your all new 2021 Metro South Guide. It's in the mail to 10,000 businesses and community organizations. Oh, and Chris is holding it up. There you go. Thanks, Chris. July and August action report will be highlighting upcoming activities to be, and that's to be delivered Tuesday, the 6th. Business after hours in person, August 5th at Waterpoint in Easton from 5 to 7 p.m. in the big tent. Prava after hours with the chamber, August 19th in Sycamore Grove. That's the old BAT terminal in Brockton behind the new state building on Main Street. Is that right, Chris?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And so for more information on upcoming events, you can visit the Chamber's website at metrosouthchamber.com. And now for the door prizes. So we have first a member profile in the action report of the Chamber's newsletter, which is distributed through the enterprise. And that action report winner is Mary Waldron. Congratulations, Mary. So please connect with Emma Stratton at the Chamber. And then Molly has graciously given 4 books to be raffled off. So the first book winner, and that's again, Indestructible, Reclaim Control and Response with Confidence. First book winner is Joe Lovetear. Next, Linda Sacchetti. Third, Rodney Corngay, and 4th, Linda Famularo. So congratulations with all the to all the winners of Molly's book. I'm sure you'll enjoy reading that. And Lexi will be in touch with you following the program to arrange to get the books to you. Thank yous. We'd like to thank today's guest speaker, author Molly Mcpherson, the Enterprise newspaper, the Metro South Chamber team, ambassador team, this afternoon's premier sponsor, Charles Smith from Eastern Bank, and he's supported by Matthew Osborne and Joanne Snyder, also from Eastern Bank. So let's have another round of applause for Sheila Sullivan-Jardim, our Athena Award recipient. And I wish you all a wonderful holiday on Saturday, Juneteenth, and a pleasant weekend. So thank you all.
Can I just mention 2 quick things? One is this is Lexi's last day. She is leaving for California to start a new life in Southern California. So Lexi, I want to thank you for all of your efforts. Really set the bar very high in this position, and we could not have done many, many things without you. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
And then lastly, the Bears Den competition on June 30th from 5 to 7, remote access. We're giving away $10,000 prizes. Over 20 entrepreneurs have created a business plan and done a session through the Center for Women in Enterprise and Bridgewater State University. The award finalists will present live on June 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. So we're going to post that link, and we'll send it out to all of you as well. So thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you all. Have a
Thank you,
great
Chris.
weekend.